Hello and welcome to today's reading. Today we are doing something a little bit different. I wanted to channel a message about values. It seems to be a recurring theme, and I think we can all use a deep dive into what values are. I will be using Wisdom of the Oracle to guide our message today. You can find the information for this in the description box if you're interested. So right away we have two cards that came out, Y number 31 and Poised number 48. So we'll start with the Y card. The Y here is representing values as a general rule. Values are the reasoning that you have, the logic that creates the platform for which you make decisions. It's very often that we will make decisions without realizing what our values are and what the reasoning behind it is. Sometimes we think we know why we want something, but the reality is we don't. We have misconceptions of what it is we really value. It can be problematic when we don't know why we have a particular value, because if we don't know why, then we will often choose things that aren't necessarily what we want. We might choose things that will get us to a particular position that we believe looks like what we want, but once we get there, we find ourselves feeling unfulfilled and unhappy because deep down we wanted something else. To give you an example, let's say we want to create a lot of wealth, and that's what we think we want. And so we go for that, and we manage to do that. We manage to have a lot of wealth and build that system for ourselves. And yet once we are there, and once we do have that wealth, we are still feeling empty. We don't feel the fulfillment that we thought we would have once we got to this position. And in this example, the reason that happened is because we misplaced our values. So we might have thought that we wanted to build wealth, and that was the value that we had. But underneath it all, we actually wanted to feel connection and acceptance, especially from a particular group of people. And we may have seen that that group of people tended to respect and cherish people who had the type of wealth that we sought out. But once we get there, we realize that that doesn't actually inherently create the connection. And the group of people don't treat us the way we think they would now that we do have that wealth. And instead of going directly for connection, because we had a misunderstanding of our values, our why, we went for something indirectly to try to get something else, and it didn't pan out. I hope that this made sense. It feels a little bit cumbersome, but essentially this is the blueprint for living an inauthentic life, and so many of us do this in so many different ways. We get ourselves involved in different scenarios that we think we know how to play based on our upbringing, because we were essentially molded and crafted to act a certain way to receive positive reinforcement from the people who raised us. And because of this, we only know how to cater to these types of people. It's why we find certain toxic traits often comforting, or we find ourselves drawn to them because we feel that we know them and understand them, and it's what we grew up with. And very often what you grow up with is what you consider to be love, regardless of whether it is or not. And this sets us up for living inauthentically, because by default we are actually only showing certain cards, and often creating new cards, if you will, to fit into the mold that we think someone who values a certain thing will approve of, because that is ultimately what we are looking for to create connection, is people to see us for who we are, or who we are projecting ourselves to be, appreciate it and approve of it, and therefore accept us into their pack. With the Poised card here, I am seeing that You have to realize that the values that you have, and not even the values that you have, but the clarity of your own values will put you in a position to make decisions one way or another. So if you don't have good clarity on what your values are, then you're not going to be able to make decisions based on your authenticity and your personal truth. You will be making decisions based on the people around you or the people that you are seeking to find approval from. On the other hand, if you do work on clarifying your values to yourself and actively taking challenges in your life to help to clarify them even more, then you will be poised to make decisions that are authentically aligned with you. This is how we become aligned with our higher self as well. As we take in information from our environment and we have a preference for it, positive or negative, we learn to understand what our values are. These are essentially the pillars that drive our being forward. They can even be the desires that we have, the desire to experience connection or the desire to experience abundance or the desire to feel achievement. From these desires comes a set of potential values that will help us get there. What we have to decide and define in our lifetime is what path will get us there the most efficiently for us. What path is it that will give you that experience to the degree that you are looking to experience it? I'm going to pull one more card to close out this reading. We have Breathe 29. On this card, the image is of a woman with angel wings in a very pale blue and white glowing outfit. There is bubbles and stars around her, and she's surrounded by blue. It's very soothing to look at. There's also a letter, I think, a D, that might be significant to you in some way. But in this image, I'm getting that our values are quiet, they're unassuming, and our desperation is what will be loud. So if you're feeling a very, very, very strong urge and a very, very, very strong, electrified, polarized feeling towards a situation in your life, it may be a good idea to take a step back and allow yourself to reflect on the decisions that you could make given the circumstance, what those decisions would bring about, and whether or not those outcomes align with your values. And you'll know whether they do or not based on how you feel about them. You don't necessarily need to feel elated to be in alignment with your values. Life on planet Earth isn't always going to be pleasant, even if you are 100% in alignment and following your values. But you will be confident in knowing that what you are doing because it is in alignment for you, even when it hurts. And so it won't feel as painful and confusing and scary, because you know that, okay, yes, I don't like the potential for this negative experience. However, I know that it is exactly what I believe in, and it is my path because I have defined it for myself. I know that to be true. I know that it is me to do this. Of course, our values will help us to line up better with the more positive experiences as well. But what was being emphasized here in this reading was definitely that our values can make our lives less confusing, and our values can help us to define the next steps in our path. Strategizing is nothing more than considering potential actions and outcomes and comparing them with your values, your goals. I hope this reading was helpful. I hope it resonated. It was different and definitely a little less straightforward than my typical readings, but let me know if you enjoyed it. I think I'd like to do some more of these. Let me know in the comments what your experience is. I'd love to hear about it. Give this video a like if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and select all notifications so that you actually get updated anytime I upload a new video. Until next time, bye.